the high quality standards, auditing facilities, visiting farmers, testing for active compounds, making sure that carcinogens, heavy metals, all of that stuff is not in the product, as well as we have some of the greatest on our scientific advisory boards, some colleagues, some friends, some badass people that we help review some of the stuff. So again, I'm not sure if she has the slide or not, but I will make it available to everyone on this call, because this really sets a tone that's really important. So it's essentially well, I put 12, but it's even more steps. So the journey, the path of a quality nutrients, and I'm going to just read it off here. So the first step is superfood hunting, right? In some form or function, it's someone showing up to investigate this plant, to investigate the environment, to just see if it's possible, right? I do that all the time. There's tons of stuff that have never even made it to America, that have not even gotten there. And I have a whole project that I'm dedicating to getting some of these botanicals out in the world. So that's the first step. So I want you to picture this for a second, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I want you to picture this is one single ingredient that goes on this journey that I'm about to tell you. And then from there, times that by 60, 70 ingredients, okay? So I just want you to set that mental picture right now. So this is one ingredient. And I'm not talking about any particular ingredient at this point. So number one, superfood hunt. Identify, see, and then investigate. Number two, meet the farmers, meet the growers, right? In some form or fashion, we meet the farmers, we meet the growers. That's number two. Number three, we go into testing. We test the material. We sometimes test soil when it's necessary. And we go into seeing what the fingerprinting of the botanical is. The next, number four, is setting the growing standards, right? So we talk with the grower, we talk with the farmer, we talk with the processor, and we set, hey, when do we plant? When do we harvest? How quickly do we process? And what's the best form and function to do that? Number five, then we harvest correctly. Whack these things off. Every ingredient is different. If I cut moringa and I don't process it very quickly, it loses virtually all of its antioxidants. Okay, so it's extremely important to understand the botanical and to understand how to process it. So this again is every single ingredient. Okay, number six, then, so we're harvesting correctly, now we're processing correctly. And then number seven, now after we processed it, so we've taken it from a leaf and we've taken it into a careful drying and a processing, a milling, and a slow temp drying, and then now we test. So the next one is number seven, we test the botanical to make sure it doesn't have contaminants, E. coli, salmonella, microbiological, as well as we test for the compounds that we measure the quality in. Okay, the next one then is, once it passes all of that, number eight, we package that up individually from the country of origin. We ship that to the United States. Once it gets to the United States, number eight, we quarantine it, okay, for a period of time, and then we test all of the other things. We test for the fingerprint of it, the botanical, and making sure it doesn't have any contaminants, okay? So then once it's past that, and it's in the United States, and we've tested all of those things, then essentially pretty much we start blending and mixing, and that is a layer effect based on starting with certain herbs and botanicals, and then eventually we mix this big batch of Shakeology in this case, and do some testing, and then basically it's to your door. So many steps, about 12 steps. So if you get that for a second, that's the journey, that's the path of one single ingredient. And so when you have 60 of them, which a lot of people give me shit for putting so many ingredients, that all of these things have a journey to go through. And if you start to understand that, I'll be putting out some videos this year to really bring you in the world of superfood hunting so that you have an understanding of that. And that's what I want to communicate to you, and hopefully you can start communicating to people.